of these fighters getting on the scale and seeing these guys as they're getting ready to, it's go time.
Yeah, well, what we had yesterday, fortunately, we had what we call a mock weigh-in. We had the real weigh-in about 10 in the morning, and then at 5 p.m. we had one for the fans. And so by then, they can really rehydrate, and the interviews I get when I ask the fighter stuff are way better on a mock weigh-in because they can actually talk. They're hydrated.
They got those electrolytes back.
Exactly. So, yeah, I love that stuff. Fighters love it, too.
Now, with the fight itself, Dave Rickles is always... yeah. He's Dave.
Yes, he's a showman, and not only that, he's aggressive. He always finishes or gets finished. It's one or the other with Dave. So we love having him here because the crowd's so far behind him, and he's almost recklessly aggressive. I mean, he just blasts guys. We saw last time.
And he knows how to turn it on.
He knows how to turn on. He knows what the crowd likes, but it's bitten him a couple times. With Pitbull, for example, got knocked out here, and then against John Alessio, he was destroying John Alessio,
and then he
threw a bad knee.
Threw the bad knee.
Killed him.
I asked him at the open workout if he's going to behave this evening. And he goes, well, I'm going to try. I went and reread the rules and everything.
Well, I've asked him before, like, are you going to change your style around? Are you going to fix this, and that? And he goes, it wouldn't be me to fight that much differently. He said, I can add more technique, I can add new stuff to my game, but to ask me to suddenly kind of be a technician, I just wouldn't be myself anymore, and he understands that.
Yeah. Now, with the fights tonight, Bob Hunter, our photographer, is excited to see the Czechoslovakian female fighter.
Yes. She is awesome.
She is the equivalent of what my old camera guy Ross Long would refer to as a perv magnet. She's an MMA perv magnet because she attracted all the burbs because Bob was there.
Yeah, she's unbelievable. Yeah. Ovchinikaya?
Yes.
Ovchinikaya, I'm trying to say that properly. I've been practicing a lot. I have it written down there. She's awesome. But the thing is, she's up against somebody who's a kickboxer, someone who has knockout power, who's 5-1. She talked about, when I asked her about the fight, she talked about the pressure of being the one with all the attention on her. She's the one at the weigh-ins, man. She blew everybody away. She's the one everybody's looking at. So that can be a good thing. It can also be a bad thing, where there's a lot of pressure on her shoulders. I think her opponent's coming in really loose. Ruth seemed fantastic at the in the fighter interviews and at the weigh-ins. Like, she has nothing to lose. And,
she looked real confident, got up there. It's just like another day at the office.
Yeah, see, that's the difference, is we all look at the pretty girl. Everyone's kind of drawn to her, but she has to fight just as hard, if not harder, than everybody else, and everybody forgets that.
Now, with the fights tonight, what do you think is going to be the most exciting? Because these guys. You've been here all week.
Yeah.
I feel for you for spending a week in Kansas, by the way.
Hey, it's not bad. It's not bad. People out here are great. Everybody's wonderful. The fans are real excited. 2 fights that have the most potential to be fight of the night.
Yeah.
Anytime Dave Rickles in the cage, you got a potential fight of the night. Okay. Bobby Cooper, just a tough dude. Another guy who's just, a warrior. He's from out here. He's just one of those guys who's never been finished before in his career. Yeah. Very experienced. On the other side, Kendall Grove versus Francisco Franz. Kendall Grove is another one of those guys who, when he fights, technically very hard to beat, but tends to get in that Hawaii-style brawl and just throw hands. Franz is another warrior, great submission game. Either one of those could be fight of the night for the same reason, in that they both have a guy known for just bringing it every time.
Now, what do you make of the change? We had an illness in the main event.
Yes.
Moving guys up. Czech Congo's been here before, so it's...
I don't think it changes very much in terms of the main event. I don't think it changes that much. These are guys that have been around the block. They know what it takes to succeed under big lights, things like that. Yeah. Czech Congo, the question with Czech Congo, he still looks like Czech Congo. Looks like he's in great shape, still a beast physically. You get old quickly in this sport. How many good fights does he have at the elite level before that drop-off? Could it be tonight? Could it be the fight after? Will Spartan catch him right at that moment? Spartan's 6'7". Every fight he's won, he's finished. Physically, he brings just as much as Czech. The question with Czech is, when does that experience become a detriment? And you've had one too many. Yeah. And so, but the last few fights, he's fought very smart. I think he's going to do well tonight.
Now, Kendall Grove looked real impressive on the scales.
Yes.
Looked like he's been putting some conditioning in. And
what I like the most about Kendall Grove, the last time he fought against Joey Beltran, he's one of those guys, you're like, why don't you just fight long and use your jab and stick and move?
See, this is the
thing. He never does it.
Dude has got arms and legs for days.
But
I'm like, what are you
doing? Throwing big punches. Against Joey, it was like a boxing clinic. He was moving the outside, moving his head, throwing the jab. So he fought for his length. He fought for his size. He fought so smooth and so technically. I think it's more a tactical thing tonight. He looks great, but he's generally in pretty good shape.
Yeah.
Does he fight tactically smart? If he does, Franz has a long night.
Now, as far as I noticed from this last Kansas Star event to today, you guys have a chock full of people on the prelims.
Yeah.
Is all this planned because Bellator has had just quick fights, like last week with Gracie Shamrock, boom, over quick?
Yeah.
Is that planned on purpose so we don't end up having an hour-long show?
Sometimes they do. Sometimes they do. But what it is they've partnered with a local promoter here to provide a lot of the undercard fights. And it's all guys he's vouched for. It's all guys he's said, these guys are level fights. These guys will keep the fans in the seats, which is the big deal when you're looking at a prelim fight. Do I think a lot of the ones on the main card will go early? They have the potential to go real early. Like I said, with the Caveman and Kendall, you always have a chance of first-round knockout or submission with those guys. We could have some quick fights. So, yeah, I mean, it's always one of those things where you look for that kind of gold in the prelims, that if we run short on time, we can throw that in the main card fight. And I think there are guys that will fit well.
Now, from a television production perspective, with all of that in mind,
which is me,
what if all of those damn prelim fights go 3 rounds?
We've had that happen before, man.
What happens if Spike TV throws you the satellite signal and it's like, hey, baby, it's on the air time?
When you see a lot of interviews, for me, like they'll pull, I interview Hoist Gracie, I'll interview somebody in the crowd, I'll talk to one of the fighters. All that mix and match stuff is because there's some kind of time issue. We have 10 extra minutes, but the only fight we have is 15 minutes long. We don't want to do the main event yet. Jimmy, interview this guy, do this, run this promo. So a lot of that, I don't want to say filler, but those extra pieces happen because of time problems. So if we have a bunch of them go the distance, we can't fit one in there, that's when I got to interview somebody, or they'll throw in a promo for the upcoming fight, things like that. We have those pieces ready to go.
Now, when you guys do some of your interviews, like I know when you have a big main event coming up, like a couple weeks ago, you had Hoist on via Skype.
Right.
He's not obviously... a little of the television magic. He's not obviously not, on live with you then. When do you tape those during the week?
Right now.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Usually right now when you guys are here, it would be right before the main event starts. We have everything set up and we know what's happening. Or during the rehearsal, which is maybe an hour before right now.
Yeah.
So it's always right near our main event in case something happens. And if we do it a week before, he gets injured, that interview doesn't make sense anymore, or something's changed, or something's wrong. It's very, very close to what you guys are seeing in real time.
That's awesome.
Yeah, almost right before the show is when we
Now, as far as your prep work, you just basically show up, slap a headset on, and you're going, or do you have a pre-production that you have to do today?
Yes. We already went through, about 2-hour rehearsal this afternoon. I have all my stuff on my iPad, all my notes and everything. I study up on all these guys. I have to. So Sean Grandi, he's got the hard job. He has to know.
He's got to do play-by-play, and
he has to know all the background from everybody, prelims, everybody. So. Yeah, well, we do all our homework, and it's all here when we're ready to go, man.
Now, one question on that end: how was the transition working from Grandi to wheelock? Was that, or is it?
They're both prep guys. I mean, when it comes to getting ready for a show, both Sean Wheelock and Sean Grandi work really hard to know everything about the fighters, where they're from, where they went to school, what sports they played when they were kids, everything. So in terms of the prep and getting ready for the show, they're very, very similar. So
that's awesome.
The transition between the two guys wasn't really that different. Play-by-play guys do a ton of work. When you see the NFL, and a guy gets tackled and they go, he was a backup quarterback in this high school. They know that's all play-by-play.
They know
stuff.
that.
They know everything. That's their thing. Yeah.
Now, as far as Bellator goes, they do more or less like a season as far as.
We used to.
Or you guys all the time?
We are all the time. A lot of people think from the Bjorn Rebney area, we did 3 months on and kind of 3 months off. These 2 seasons. We don't really do that anymore. There might be seasons where we do more. We might do more in the fall and more in the spring, but we're on all year long, man. We start in January, end in December. Trust me, my schedule's hell. Yeah, it's rough.
How do you fit that in with your PBC boxing and everything you're doing?
Both PBC and Bellator are on Spike. So they're all for the same network. I know people that do like NBC and CBS and Bellator. They have to coordinate.
Ranello probably has just a schedule that's out of his mind. He's Showtime. He's WWE.
Not my problem. Spike gets me.
Gets you where you need to be.
Exactly.
That is awesome.
They're all for the same network. So Spike will get me. All right, you're going from here, then you're going to this, and you're doing a PBC thing, then you're going here, and okay, it's your network. You make sure I get from where I need to go to PBC.
Point A to point B.
Yeah, it's all their problem because I'm not working for 2 different entities. Yeah.
Now at the end of the night, most of the fighters, you know, like for instance, they're going to be forced to talk to us chuckleheads and
Yes.
the rest of the media.
Yeah.
What do you do at the end of the night? Are you just done? You just put the headset down, you're out of here? Is it like David Letterman? You take the jacket off and leave?
No, not at all. The highlights you guys see on
Yeah.
YouTube and stuff, the
Yeah.
Bellator package highlights,
Yeah.
we do all of those sitting right here, right after the show. So they cut the highlights for me. So I take 5 minutes, go use the restroom, do what I have to do. Then they have everything cut up for me, and they go, "You ready to voice the highlights?" We voice the highlights, and they go out to social media and all that stuff tonight. So they cut that
awesome.
right here, and we voice it. That's the last thing I do.
Boom.
Yep.
That's it. Well, before I let you go, any upcoming projects besides Bellator? Or
I gotta tell you, Bellator and PBC are my life. So keep up with me, Jimmy Smith MMA on Twitter. Thank you so much. Appreciate you guys.
Thank you much. Thank you, sir.
Bro, how you doing, bud?